Hey Vinyl Community, it's Chris. Back to do another Acid Archives diary entry. This one's going to be the band Lacewing. 1971 band from Kent, Ohio. So let me put this on and then I'll talk about it a little bit. It's on the mainstream label. So 1971 rock band. Starting out with their one single called Paradox. So to me, this is the best track on the album. Lacewing. To me, this has a real big star vibe to it. They were both about around the same time, early 70s, so contemporaries. So this album seems to be in two halves. It starts out here with this song on a high, and then it kind of slowly goes down until the last track, which ends up with a drum solo. So depending on how you like drum solos, you may not feel that it trends that way, but and I liked half the album just about, and the other half was kind of average. So I finally figured out when I looked at it that this track was written by Bob Webb, their guitarist, and he did 3 of the tracks on here, 3 of the 8, and then Dave Andreas, the keyboard player, wrote 4 of the other tracks. They've got a female singer, forget her name, Mary Sturpka, and then a drummer and a bass player. So Mary Sturpka and the bass player wrote one of the songs, but nothing really seems to measure up to the guitarist's compositions. So we'll read the Acid Archives in a moment, but let me switch over to a different track. So this is called Paradox, which was their only single. This is the second track, also a Bob Pegg, called Crystal Meth. So not quite as up-tempo as the first one, but not too bad. Nice vocal harmonies. And then it moves into 2 of the non-Bob Pegg tracks. Our World, It Can Happen, which is sort of average, and Time to Go, which is the one by the vocalist and the bassist. So again, not highlights. So let me switch over to the other Bob Pegg song that leads off side 2. This is their epic 2-parter called The Storm. The first one is by Bob Webb, called Epicycle. And then the keyboardist does his best track on here, which is Rebirth, which is kind of some ambient and you know, interlude type stuff. And then they go into I'll Play For You, which was also by the keyboard player, which is not one that I really like. Not bad, but just not really good. And then they end up with Galvanized Midget, which is the closing track, which is just an instrumental, and they get all the band members get their turns to be showcased for a moment, and they end up with a over 1 minute drum solo to round it out. So Lacewing came from another band called the Measles, which at one excuse me, which at one point had Joe Walsh and Joe Vitale as members of the band, and their single's not too bad, kind of jangly guitar stuff. So Lacewing. Now let me get to the Acid Archives part. I think this is like page 184, but 183. A 1971 on Mainstream, and then there was a 2008 Scorpio reissue on colored vinyl. Some of the advertisements for the album say, this LP blends electronic rock, the plugged-in kind, and acoustic rock with heavy beat. Mary Sturpka, the lead vocalist, has a fine belting tone, and the music fits her well. Our World, It Can Happen, in parentheses, is a tune of optimism which gives the musician a chance to show their ability. Galvanized Midget is a good instrumental cut. The vocal harmonies throughout the album, combined with excellent musical taste, give this record good chart potential. Now that was from Billboard, 1971. And then the Acid Archives review is PL, who I forgot to look that up. Is that Patrick Lundstrom, the author of the book? I think so. The final rock release from Mainstream label, Lacewing, features a sound rooted in the typical West Coast airplane mamas and papas Big Brother bag, but also displays hints of 1970s things to come, even though this says it was released in 71. The album starts off strong with Femme, Vox, folk rock, and psych on side 1, while side 2 gets a little heavier with fuzz leads and modest prog ambitions. The use of piano and heavy drum licks suggest a possible Volunteers influence, while the atmospheric instrumental passage during The Storm, which we're listening to now, may be the most original thing on board. It took me a while to figure out why it seemed so familiar, but to my ears, Patrick Lundstrom, it is quite similar to the British Julian J. Savarin album, although less coherent in its structure. About 2/3 of Lacewing is excellent femme hippie rock, its impact lessened by a couple of uninspired tracks and a drum solo to the close. In earlier days, the band were a popular local act known as the Measles, including Joe Walsh at one point, and they reverted back to that moniker after their LP fizzled out the way mainstream deals tended to do. So that was the, my review, kind of in line with what Acid Archive said. But so this is the end of that epic 2-part track, and then it's going to go into some more average stuff. Maybe I can all right, this is I'll Play For You written by the keyboardist Dave Andreas. Now it's going to take us out. That's my Acid Archives Diaries entry. Maybe I'll get around to a regular video at one of these points and show some things that I've bought lately. Who knows? But anyway, there's the female vocals. Just, I don't know. Wanted it to be anthemic, I guess. So, all right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.